video, I'll be showing you the difference between a discrete and a continuous data in Tableau. So I've connected to the data source, which is the sample EU Superstore, and I'll go right to sheet 1. And for you to know, I'm using the orders table. That's why I've dragged it into the canvas. So sheet 1 will show my table, and I'll be using 2 fields for this purpose. Let's use order date and possibly order ID. Now, if you notice that these 2 fields, the order date and order ID, were picked from this area, which are in blue pills, that is a blue color. When I hover it, you can see the blue color highlighting each of the fields. And beneath this pill, there is a tiny or a thin demarcation line. And beneath it are green pills. As you hover over it, you see this green tab or color on it, including the icons are in green. So for you to know, all these ones are categorical data or qualitative data, and they are the ones we refer to as discrete data. So what do we mean by discrete data? They are distinct data or chunks of data or data you can use for categorizing, and they are not continuous. They are just in distinct values. They do not assume any range. Now, most of the times they are usually like, as you can see, names of a product, names or labels of a thing. So this green part of it, which refers to the continuous data, usually quantitative, and that is numeric values. They are the continuous data, and that's why they're in green pill. So in Tableau, they've been separated or demarcated into blue, which is discrete, and into green, which is continuous. So continuous really is numerical, and they have a range of values. So they can assume any data points within that range. So when you say range, you have boundaries of data. So the upper boundary and the lower boundary. So for example, if you say between 1 to 10, 1 to 10 is a range. And this is discontinuous, not discrete, can assume a range of any of the values. So when we get into the visualization, you get to know more of it. So I've been able to use these 2 discrete values. However, if I decide to count this order ID because I want a count of all orders in each of the year, that's what I want to achieve, I will leave the year as discrete because I wanted to categorize my data. Now, I would now go into order ID, which I want to count for each of the year. So which is going to be done under measures. You can see different measures. If you want a minimum, maximum count, or count distance. I'll count distance. The difference between count and count distance is that count any instances of that data. By count distance, look for distance value. For example, if you have 1, 2, 2, 3, count will count the 2 twice. So it's going to give me between 1, 2, 2, 3, it's going to give me 4 values. But for count distance, it's just going to choose unique data in that range. So 1, 2, 2, 3 will be 3 counts. It's to count an instance of the 2. So let's just count distance because I want distant value. As you can see, this has changed to a green pill. It used to be a blue pill, now it's a green pill, which means that distinct value has changed to a continuous value because I've applied the count there. It's now a measure, it's now a number, and it's in a continuous form. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Let me duplicate this by pressing my command button and dragging in here. I'll convert this one into discrete because I have the option in Tableau to convert a continuous data into discrete, regardless of it being a number or not. Now, when I change this to discrete, notice the change in there. You can see for 2020, it has 806. 806 is the same thing as the 806 here. But because this is in continuous form, it gives me a different visualization. But this is discrete. It just gave me a single number. So going back to the concepts, do not be fixated to say, because this is a number, it must always be treated as a continuous value in Tableau. You can change it to a discrete, but it's the behavior that determines if it's going to be a discrete or continuous when you are using it in your visualization. But while it is still here, Tableau automatically categorizes it into discrete based on, is a label, it's a field name, and if it's a number, it goes here automatically. But when you want to manipulate it for your visualization, you have the option to change it to either discrete or continuous. Now I've changed my order number, the count of my order number or order ID, into discrete in this distance, and this one in this instance. So now let's check the behavior in the visualization. So the behavior here, 806, is just showing as a single number. It's not a range of value. It's a chunk of number. It's distinct. It's standing alone. But when you look at this visualization here, the 806, because it's continuous, is going to show me a range of value. It continues in that range. It assumes different points. What do I mean? This is where 806 is. But you can see 806 started from 0, it goes to 500 before it gets to 806, which is the peak. So it's continuous in the sense that it assumes this point, it assumes 500 before it stops at 806. So it's continuous. The visualization shows the trail of data points it assumes before it gets here. So you can see the range is between 0 and 86. So it creates a mark for each of the range or data points till it gets to 806. But it's not the same with the discrete behavior. Both of them are number, but in the visualization, you can see it just gave us 806 standalone and is categorical data. Another behavior you should know in Tableau is that when using this discrete or continuous labels or data point, you can't put a discrete number in front of your measure or a continuous data point. What do I mean? I can say I'm dragging it in here. It's not responding. You can see it's not going to respond. It can only categorize itself. So a category, a label categorizes continuous values. So discrete numbers, distant numbers behave categorically, they behave as labels, and they help in subdividing our measures or continuous data. So if, for example, I change this to continuous, you can see it comes before the count of order ID. That's how you manipulate it. So you can't use this again to categorize this because Tableau is seeing it as a continuous value. When I put it back in, it stays in there. I can maneuver this. So that's the behavior. So don't be fixated to say, oh, this is a label in here. I can always treat it as a label or a discrete value or a categorical value. No, you can decide to change it and the order continues. And this is what affects our visualization as well. So there you go, the major differences between discrete and categorical. So if you want to now manipulate the marks in here automatically for discrete or continuous values, a bar chart is the instance you can have. So let's see if we choose something else. You can say 806 covers the entire area. You can see this. So when I decide to remove this, for example, you can see that it's just a single point the square is going to cover because just a single point. So let's go back. Let's change this for the categorical data. Let's change it to, for example, A circle covers the entire circular area for the 806. When I remove this, it's just that point for a discrete value. So categorical data, or continuous data, covers the entire area, while categorical is just a single point. So a range of value is for continuous, while a single point or distant points, as the case may be, refers to discrete. So you can use this concept to maneuver your visualization. Always create all those imaginations, and there you have it. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Kindly subscribe to my channel.